Imagine a vast, unforgiving wilderness. Snow-covered peaks scraping a sky the color of lead. Now imagine 9 experienced trekkers, their bodies found scattered, frozen, bearing injuries no wild animal could inflict. What force could possibly explain such horror? The Soviet Union officially closed the Dyatlov Pass case, blaming a natural force. But what if that force was something they couldn't or wouldn't admit? The truth they buried about Russia's Dyatlov Pass cover-up is more terrifying than any mountain storm, a truth they desperately tried to erase. 2 words. 4. A hollow phrase designed to terminate inquiry, to bury the truth under a bureaucratic blanket of unchallengeable finality. It was a verdict that didn't explain. It erased asterisk. It dismissed every chilling detail. The tent ripped from asterisk within asterisk. The barefoot tracks in sub-zero temperatures. The internal injuries without external marks. The strange radiation. All of it swept away by a vague, convenient declaration. But what if that natural force wasn't natural at all? What if it was a carefully constructed lie? If you stay until the end, you will discover the shocking truth behind this natural force, and why the Soviet Union went to such lengths to conceal it. The empire had spoken, and its voice, filtered through the state-controlled press, was almost a whisper, a brief, almost dismissive mention, a few lines buried deep within the pages of a regional newspaper. Incident in the Ural Mountains. Authorities conclude investigation. No headlines, no outrage, just a bureaucratic shrug, printed on cheap paper, dissolving into the collective consciousness like a sugar cube in tea. The tone was chillingly casual, designed to lull, to pacify any lingering questions. The articles subtly implied were mere speculation, the idle chatter of uninformed elements. This was the public face of the cover-up, a deliberate downplaying, a calculated trivialization, the laughter of an empire, echoing not with mirth, but with contempt for truth. It wasn't just about controlling the narrative, it was about controlling asterisk, thought itself asterisk. To question the official verdict was to question the state. And in 1959, in the Soviet Union, that was a dangerous, silent act. But beneath the surface, a seed of doubt was planted. A seed that, despite the official pronouncements, refused to die. What did they really want to hide? That seed of doubt was planted in a place unlike any other. A landscape that devours sound, swallows light, and molds silence into a physical presence. The Ural Mountains, ancient, unforgiving, a spine of stone and ice separating Europe from Asia, and within them, a place so remote, so desolate, it felt like the very edge of the world, Dyatlov Pass. Imagine it. February 1959. Temperatures plummeting to -30 degrees Celsius, often far lower. Winds, vicious and relentless, scourging the snow into blinding blizzards. A terrain so hostile, so utterly indifferent to human life, that merely existing there is an act of defiance. This wasn't just a hike, it was an expedition into the maw of a frozen beast. For 9 experienced, hardened trekkers, this vast white expanse was their chosen challenge, a testament to their spirit, their endurance. But the mountain, silent and ancient, held secrets far older than any human ambition. This wasn't a place for casual adventurers. It demanded respect. It demanded vigilance. Every breath was a struggle, every step a calculated risk. And somewhere, hidden beneath layers of ice and official lies, that mountain became a tomb, a stage for an event so baffling, so terrifying, it would defy every logical explanation for decades. What force, natural or otherwise, could possibly turn such seasoned explorers into desperate fleeing shadows in the dead of a Siberian night? The mountain waits. It always waits. This was no amateur outing. This was a Grade 3 expedition, the highest classification in the Soviet Union. It demanded skill, resilience, an almost primal connection to the wild. And leading this formidable group was Igor Dyatlov, 23 years old, an engineering student, yes, but more importantly, a veteran of countless brutal treks. His eyes, sharp and intelligent, held the quiet confidence of a man who understood the language of the mountains. He had chosen his team not by chance, but by design, each member a finely tuned instrument. There was Zinaida Kolmogorova, fiery and fearless, her spirit as indomitable as the frozen peaks. Lyudmila Dubinina, quiet but strong, a meticulous planner. Semyon Zolotaryov, the oldest, a military veteran, hardened by war and mountains alike. Yuri Krivonishenko, full of song and laughter. Rustam Slobodin, thoughtful, analytical. Nikolai Thibault-Brignois, the navigator, precise and methodical. Georgy Krivonishenko and Alexander Kolevatov, the reliable backbone of the team. 9 individuals, 9 lives intertwined by a shared passion, a common goal. They were the elite, physically superior, mentally unyielding. They had faced blizzards, avalanches, bone-chilling cold. They had conquered peaks that broke lesser men. Their goal, Mount Otorten, a summit few had ever reached, shrouded in local legends of spirits and strange happenings. A Grade 3 expedition wasn't just about reaching a destination. It was about proving oneself against the raw, untamed power of nature. They were seeking not just adventure, but glory, a recognition that would open doors, solidify reputations. They had trained for this, prepared for this, every piece of equipment, every route planned, every contingency considered. They were ready for anything the mountain could throw at them, or so they thought. The mountain, however, had a surprise far more sinister than any blizzard, a surprise that would unravel not just their bodies, but the very fabric of belief. The journey began, simply enough. A train from Sverdlovsk, a bustling industrial hub, carrying them northwest towards the vast, unforgiving expanse of the Ural Mountains. Their first major stop, Ivdel, a small, remote town, a gateway to the wilderness, where civilization began to fray. From Ivdel, they pressed deeper, by truck, to Vizhai, the last outpost, the final whisper of human settlement. Beyond Vizhai, the world transformed. It became a canvas of snow, ice, and ancient forests. This was the true test. The ascent to Otorten, a mountain whose name in the local Mansi language carried a chilling echo. Don't go there. A peak standing at 1182 meters, not exceptionally high, but notorious for its brutal winter conditions. The expedition was rated Grade 3, the absolute maximum difficulty. It meant deep snow, sub-zero temperatures plummeting to -30 degrees Celsius and below, treacherous winds, and the constant threat of blizzards that could erase visibility in seconds. This wasn't a hike. It was a siege against nature, a deliberate confrontation with the wild heart of Russia. Their objective wasn't merely to summit Otorten. It was to complete a full traverse, pushing their limits, honing their skills, proving their mettle against the elements. This was about prestige, recognition, a testament to their endurance. They anticipated a challenging, yet ultimately triumphant, return. But as they ventured further from Vizhai, leaving behind the last vestiges of the known world, they were not just entering the unknown, they were stepping into a void, a place where the rules of civilization and perhaps even of reality, would cease to apply. The mountain was waiting, and it had secrets, darker than any they could have imagined. The group, now 10 strong, was a vibrant burst of life against the monochrome landscape. They laughed, they joked, they were unstoppable, or so they believed. Yet, even in this crucible of camaraderie, fate sometimes intervenes with a gentle, almost merciful whisper. For Yuri Yudin, the 10th member, that whisper became a debilitating ache in his knee and a persistent fever. He was unwell, too unwell to continue. It was February 1st, 1959. Deep in the wilderness, the decision was made. A somber moment, a tearful farewell. Dyatlov, ever the leader, understood. Yudin, heartbroken, watched his friends disappear into the blinding white, a lonely figure turning back towards Vizhai. He was leaving behind, not just an expedition, but a part of himself. Little did he know, this illness, this profound disappointment, was a cruel kindness, a twist of fate that would save his life. The last time he would ever see them alive, the mountain had already begun to claim its first, unwitting victim, not through death, but through a survival that would haunt him forever. The last days, before the silence, before the terror, what occupied their minds, what hopes, what fears, flickered in their eyes just before the darkness consumed them. The answers lie, in part, within the fragments of their world recovered by search parties, diaries, cameras, intimate glimpses into the souls of the doomed. Imagine their final entries, scribbled with frozen fingers, the click of a shutter, capturing a last, unsuspecting smile. These aren't just objects, they are echoes, whispers from a past that refuses to die. They are the only witnesses left to what truly happened, and they tell a story far more chilling than any official report. What if these seemingly innocent items hold the key to a truth so dangerous it had to be buried? These weren't just logs of a trek, they were windows. Zina Kolmogorov's elegant script, Dyatlov's meticulous observations, rustling pages, stiff with frozen time. They speak of the beauty, the biting cold, the camaraderie, simple entries, yet infused with a retrospective dread that chills to the bone. They mention a river crossing, the struggle with heavy packs, the joy of reaching a new campsite, mundane details, but with each word, a growing sense of unease, a subtle shift in tone. Then, the photographs, grainy, black and white snapshots, frozen smiles, playful poses in an unforgiving landscape, captured moments of vibrant life. But look closer, a figure on the horizon, an odd shadow in the trees. Were they just tricks of the light, or were they subtle whispers of an impending doom, captured unknowingly by the very people who would soon face it? These last images, taken just days before the tragedy, transform from simple holiday snaps into a chilling visual record of their final, unsuspecting moments. What did they see? What did they feel? Their final entries, their final frames. They whisper, they hint, they set the stage for a horror yet unseen. The final entry, dated February 1st. It spoke of a brutal snowstorm, whiteout conditions, wind that cut like razor blades, visibility zero. They were trying to reach a saddle between Kholat Syakhl and a neighboring peak, a planned camp spot, sheltered from the relentless Ural winds. But the storm, it disoriented them. Every step was a battle, every landmark erased. They veered, subtly at first, then, irreversibly. Instead of the sheltered saddle, they found themselves higher, on the exposed, unforgiving slope of Kholat Syakhl itself. Dead mountain, a place the Mansi people avoided, a place where spirits were said to roam, a place where, on that night, the Dyatlov group would make their final fatal stand. Remember the unknown, compelling natural force the Soviets blamed. Now you see the stage, a mountain whose name means "don't go there." A team of elite trekkers, driven off course, onto a dead mountain. Their final moments captured in cryptic diary entries and chilling photographs. This wasn't just a natural disaster. It was a perfect storm of isolation, a relentless environment, and something else. Something so profound, so terrifying, that an entire empire chose to bury it under a bureaucratic lie. The truth of Dyatlov Pass isn't just about what happened, but about what they didn't want you to know. The mystery of Dyatlov Pass is far from over.